information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to episode 256 of the Hmbt podcast. As promised, I'm bringing on some guests. I have one with me today. I met this gentleman in the Facebook group that we both belong to, Masters of Reinvention. I'm joined today by Peter Birkin. He is the owner of Message to Billions. Love that name. Peter is a life coach. He's a mastery of self-flow, and hopefully we'll make sure to put him to the test there. And also is a passion test facilitator. I am really anxious to get to know Peter more and talk about some things that we talked about off camera, off microphone, when it comes to Mastermind, having a coach, having a mentor, basically not doing things alone. And Peter, I appreciate you coming on today. And I think that's really the essence of today's show is going to be don't do things alone. But first, welcome and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hank, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate that. So I got bit by an entrepreneur bug back in 2006. I was teaching at the time. My actual wife at the time was in Germany, visiting the Pope of all places. And while she did that, she left me a little bit of money to play blackjack online. And while she was gone, I bought 4 houses. So she came back from Germany into Rochester, and I had 5 homes now.
Wow, man, that sounds really interesting. And I've been to Germany, love Germany, but I think I'd rather play poker and win money.
I agree.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help other people, because everything I read, I think that's what it comes down to is you help people do things, and it's usually business people.
Yes, I do. I'm a life coach. I've been a life coach since 2012. I graduated from IPEC, Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. I think it's a heck of a school to graduate from. I have other coaching certificates, but the main one is from IPEC. The other thing is I'm a passion test facilitator. I was trained by Janet Bray Atwood. The passion test, the effortless path to discovering your life purpose. So it's a 3-hour workshop I put on, and it's outstanding. And I was also trained in September to teach the Mastery of Self-Love course. So I kind of think I'm a consultant in that I have a mind to help things like businesses do better. I see how to make things better. Yeah.
A while back, I had someone on that was also a coach, and we discussed that age-old problem that I think people think of is either I don't have money, a budget, to use or work with a coach, or I don't think I'm ready for one is kind of some of the objections that coaches come across. In your opinion, why do you think it's important for someone that wants to succeed, in business or just professionally? Why should they work with a professional coach?
Would you go to New York City without a GPS? Would you try to do anything? Would you try to do an event without a goal or a planner? You need to have a GPS, an internal guidance system of sorts to help you get there. What's better than having a mentor or coach who's been there already that can show you the same steps they did to be successful?
And I always like to think of it as, it's an extra brain and somebody that sees something from outside of your body, your mind. In other words, you might like if I'm a marketer, right? And I want to become a better marketer, I'm probably going to develop content, graphics, content, words, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to think it's great and it's awesome. And my audience is going to love it, but it might flop. But if I was to show it to someone else, they might say, well, why did you choose to do this? Because X, Y, Z. And I might say, you know what? I didn't think of that. I like the color green, but maybe green doesn't fit into this product that I'm selling. It's always good to have that expert opinion or even just a second voice. So even if you're not hiring a coach, asking a friend or a colleague for advice is helpful as well.
That's right. And that could even lead into the mastermind group. I have a mastermind group and we sound things all the time off each other. So whatever idea we might have, we bounce it in the room. From there, you get the feedback and that synergy going on, almost like that extra person, that whatever you want to, that power of the mastermind is Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill would get into. saying there's that extra person in the room with you.
Can you explain a little bit more what a mastermind group is?
Sure. I actually model mine after Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, the knowledge broker blueprint. So everything they have, I use. So they charge $250,000 a year to be in their mastermind. I use the same stuff in mine. So I'm just like a teacher, which I am. I used to be a teacher for over 22 years. I use best practices. Tony and Dean do well. Well, let's get a mastermind together, use their stuff, and do well as well, if you will.
Would you say a good kind of explanation is it's kind of a meeting with one to many, which there's the expert, but the many also have input and feedback and also participate in a knowledge share?
Absolutely. We call that together, everyone achieves more. And in my passion test family, we say together, everyone achieves miracles, because miracles come out. I mean, next thing you know, synchronicity starts to show up. Things that you had on your radar now becomes on your radar because you feed into each other to get momentum. And we encourage each other. And it is just a faith, you believe in each other kind of thing.
Right. And is that term, if you who you hang out with, you can become. In other words, if you hang out with 9 millionaires at some point, you're probably going to become a millionaire. But and I've also heard, with mentors, coaches, you should always look at getting the best you can. In other words, if you want to become a millionaire, hang out with billionaires, you'll get there faster.
Absolutely.
It's great. I think that not enough people are reaching out to mentors, coaches, or just friends and people in their network, especially with COVID or the pandemic happening, because people are feeling isolated in their home. And I think people need to say, I'm trying to figure out this whole work from home thing, and I need to do this on my own. And now I can't just walk over to someone's desk or go to their office and have a coffee with them and talk. But that's not the reality. We're on Zoom right now recording this, and that's something anyone can use, is Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, whatever you use to do conferencing or just video calls. You can have a mentor, a coach. Even if somebody's in California and I live in North Carolina, I can have a coach. Don't let any kind of physical boundaries stop you, and also don't let budgets stop you, because I think a big misnomer is I'm going to spend $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to work with a coach, and I feel like that's throwing money down the drain. But you got to think about, if you become an expert in your industry, you become better, you can charge more, do more, retain more, and sell more, is how I think about it.
I agree. And actually, my mastermind is called Pivot Pete's Mastermind. So that's funny you brought up that, because everyone had to pivot with COVID. And for people who already had a virtual business, great, it got better, didn't it? And then people who are just trying to pivot from maybe corporations into business for themselves, if you knew how to pivot, got a coach, you got there quicker. And then the other thing is, a coach needs a coach as well. I get coached by Tony Robbins' company. I also get coached by I Achieve, which I would recommend. These are inexpensive ways, but at the same time, it's whatever your budget can afford. But you have to have a coach. You have to have a mentor.
Right. Be a coach, get a coach, right?
That's exactly right.
I love that. And it's something I do. I look for people to collaborate with me, and I meet with them and have masterminds, but yet I'm always also coaching down, meeting with people through SCORE. I do a little bit of volunteerism there, help people that want to start businesses or just become more successful. And just through my content marketing and my books, I'm always trying to I guess, influence and mentor as much as possible. But I can see next year me wanting to do more things, and I'm probably going to have to reach out to people that are going to help me shore up my weaknesses in some aspect.
That's right. Don't think you're doing this alone, because you're not. You have your family, but then you also have, you got to think of coaching, even if it's reciprocal coaching. And what I mean by that is, you do it for somebody and they coach you back. Because I have a local coach that he coaches me and he coaches me right back. So we're doing it together.
That's great. Yeah, bartering for services rather than spending money. That's a great way to get things done.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about mastery of self flow and how that works.
Okay. Mastery of self-love. So what we do is we do a number of exercises. You go from having limiting beliefs. So we overcome your beliefs that will hold you back. Everything from your inner critic to your assumptions, interpretations, and your limiting beliefs. It's all those things that are sitting on your shoulder going, you can't do this. You're not good enough, that you have to overcome in order to match up your thoughts with your subconscious mind, to overcome that, to get what you're thinking about.
I understand that because that's a battle that I have all the time. It'll either be I don't have time to do something, or that nobody's going to like this, like these podcast episodes. I always record the ones by myself and I'll say nobody wants these. I did a simple one the other couple weeks ago, and it was just around how can you be an effective leader if you're remote? In other words, how can you develop thought leadership remotely? And that was actually one of the most popular episodes this year so far, and I thought it was one of the worst ones. But you just need to get over some of these things, and I think I push really hard past those, and I just find reasons to keep going and keep doing. But there's so many people out there, I think, that they hit those roadblocks and they feel like it's a brick wall and they're not going to be able to get around them. And people like you, I guess, help those folks get out of there, and it would help somebody like me do it better and more efficiently. And I guess you need to really have a lot of self. I guess it comes down to self confidence in some ways, and figuring out, what you can do and how you can do it more and better.
That's right. And that goes back into the coach. They can help you see the blind spots. They can help. Really, it comes down to how you feel about things too, Hank. How does that make you feel? Or can you tell me more? Some of the questions I use in coaching. Can you tell me more? A lot of people will say short answers. Well, you want them to go deeper. You
Right.
want them to go to the core, what's really going on there.
Right.
And then what's the next step would be another great question. What's the next step? What are you going to do?
For me as a public speaker, I love public speaking. I love getting on a stage, and not lately physically, but even virtually. I love getting in front of people and speaking. But a lot of people don't realize the drama I go through before. It's that planning, putting the content together, practicing. I hate it, put it off to the last moment a lot of times. And I know I need to do it more. But then day of, I just start talking, giving the presentation, and everything's great and wonderful. Right now, I'm preparing for one conference, a webinar, and a workshop, and I just hate the preparation of it. But then once I start talking, it's great. And, that's something probably I need to learn how to, I guess, deal with that a little bit more. And somebody like you probably could help with that.
Yeah, we can help champion and celebrate when you make big wins in your life. And you sound like you are in the flow when you have those moments when all that preparation is great, but being there and doing it and being in the flow. You mentioned flow instead of, I think, love, being in that. But you're right. It's all great stuff. You're at a coffee place, and next thing you know, 3 hours goes by and it feels like 10 minutes. And you're just like, wow. But you're passionate. And when you're passionate, things just start to flow in your life, doesn't it?
So what you're saying is, like, when you have that flow or have that love of what you're doing and you're doing it in the moment, you have to remember that's the reward for the hard work that led up to that. And you have to realize you can't just always have a reward, because you have to work hard to get the reward.
That is right. And what I'll say to a person whenever I'm at an event like a coffee shop, I'm so focused on that person and in the moment and trying to give value, nothing else matters. I'm just laser focused, present in the present, precious moment, the now. Ungift the present. And you got to go and build like that each and every moment of your day. If something goes wrong, a moment later, you're all good, because we have a choice all day long. And when you're grounded and in the flow, you understand you want to be in that sweet spot, if you will.
I love the term laser focus that you just said, because I think so many people are waiting for 2020 to be over, almost like the Gregorian calendar is going to reset everything, the pandemic, a bad economy, everything. And it's not, it's still going to be there. You need to develop and plan the goals and make sure that you're hyper focused on what you want to do next year, because okay, maybe you took a mulligan for 2020, but you need to really figure out what you're doing in 2021. And there's no better way than to go into it having a sounding board, whether it's a coach or a mentor. And you and I were talking before the show, to me, a coach is somebody that gets paid for their knowledge and experience, and they're dedicated to one or a couple people, where a mentor is someone that's willing to help someone out of the kindness of their heart because they just want to see somebody succeed. But it's not as qualitative and quantitative as having a coach, I would say.
Right. We want to give back. And then that's the coach of you getting paid. As a mentor, we do that. Sometimes you say, okay, a mentor's free because you want people to be successful who potentially couldn't pay for it. So
Right.
there's someone out there, if you reach out, that can help you. It doesn't always mean, you mentioned barter earlier, Hank. That's important. You know, maybe I could exchange marketing for coaching or vice
Right.
versa, as we're talking right now. So it can be worked out. There's resources, either what your gifts are you could bring to the table or what I could bring to the table. They all work together.
Right. I would say everyone's worthy of having a coach or mentor. And actually, those terms can be interchangeable because a mentor can be compensated, et cetera. And that's how it works on the higher levels in professionalism. But, you're not beneath or you're not above having a coach or a mentor. Everybody should have them. Successful people have them. I bet Tony Robbins has mentors or coaches, and he's very successful. There's a lot of well-known people out there that do have mentors and coaches, and people that are just getting started definitely should have one. Peter, it's great to have you on the show today. I think this is kind of eye-opening in my aspect, or in in my opinion as well, because it's firing me up for next year, and it's going to allow me to want to help other people more, and then also find out where I might need some help next year. Maybe it's shifting. Maybe it's going away from some people that have already helped me and moving into areas that I haven't had that second brain, so to say.
Set up 30-day goals before the end of the year. End your
Yes.
year with momentum. So from 2001, 221, whatever it's called, you're fired and ready and going.
I
All
think
right,
it's
you can reach
24
me at
days as of this recording to the new year, right? Because it's 17 till Christmas. So a little bit more than that. So yeah, get ready for that. Peter, folks wanted to find you and connect with you. How can they do that?
landing page will be up soon. It's messagetobillions.com. My email is pbirkin@gmail.com, and that's P, and Birkin is BURKIN @gmail.com. I also wanted to give a little offer to your listeners, Hank, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I'd like to offer a free 15-minute coaching call on Zoom, 15-minute coaching call to all your listeners.
All right. How did they take advantage of that? Simply email you, or?
Simply email me.
All right, folks, just make sure when you email, just put in there to say, hey, I found out about you through the Hank's Marketing and Business podcast. And, only do that after you review the show. No, just kidding. You don't have to review the show to get that free offer. Go ahead, hit Peter up. I think it'd be great to have a conversation with him and find out, where you can be flowing better, how you can love yourself, your business better, and just become a better person overall. Hit 2020 running. If hopefully you can get a call with Peter before the end of the year, and then just be ready for the new year. And folks, if you want to hear previous episodes, head over to hankhoffmeyer.com/Alexa. I'm on YouTube, iTunes, the Google Play Store, and Spotify, among other places that you might pick up and listen to podcasts. I would appreciate a review if you can. Helps other folks find the show. But until then, hopefully you find your love and your flow.